It's another beautiful brand new week. Rise and shine. Welcome to the most important meal of the day, the Breakfast Cafe. A daily dose of morning inspiration, of course, and motivation. I am Olumide Shokoya. Today is 16th of December, just 9 days away from Christmas. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. This is where we inform you, educate you, and of course, give you entertainment. We have banters and etiquette, we have the newspaper review, we have views from the net, we get topical issues, of course, and of course, we have trending. So stick around, let's kick the ball rolling with banters and etiquette in a short moment. Welcome back. So we will be doing etiquette today, and sometimes how it feels when you get to Monday and it's like, wow, the weekend just went so fast. Or sometimes you feel like some days are faster and sometimes some days are slower. And then again, you look at some people, how successful they are, and you're like, what am I doing in my time? That's the topic we will be discussing today, time management. Now, time management is the process of planning and controlling how much time you spend on specific activities to maximize efficiency, productivity, and achievement of goals. That we have importance of time management. Yes, increased productivity. Effective time management enables you to accomplish more in less time, which means you have to actually plan your day. You don't just sit around. You can plan your day a day before, 2 days before, a week before. Plan how you're going to spend your day, how productive you are. It reduces stress. Now, by prioritizing tasks and managing time wisely, you can minimize stress and feel more in control. That means plan whatever you're going to do today. If you have a task you want to, you're going for, you can actually break it down. So, okay, on Monday, this is what I'm going to achieve. On Tuesday, so that you don't push everything up in Monday and you have a very stressful week. Now, we have improved work-life balance. Now, time management helps you to allocate time for personal and professional responsibilities, leading to a better balance between work and life. There's always been a saying, you always must find a way to balance personal life with your work life. If you are not able to balance the two, you'll be having a whole lot of stressful week. Now we have this one, enhanced goal achievement. Now, by focusing on high priority tasks and managing time effectively, you can make steady progress towards your goals. Now, common time management challenges: procrastination, delaying tasks until the last minute. Sometimes I get caught up, in a whole lot of things, and I'll be like, don't worry, I'll do this thing later, I'll do this. And by the time you know it, time is already gone. You're wondering, how did you spend your whole day without achieving one single thing? That's procrastination. Now, we have distraction, allowing non-essential tasks or activities to derail your focus. That means whatever you plan to do today, yes, some other things might crop up, but stay on the prize. Stay focused on the goal. So if any other thing comes up, maybe people call you for other things, you can say, okay, I'm a little busy now, I'll get back to you, and focus on achieving that thing. Once it's achieved, then you can have time for other frivolous activities. Over-committing, taking on too many tasks or responsibilities, leading to burnout. Just like I said earlier on, you can break it down. If you have a particular task you want to achieve in a day, you can actually break it down to 2 days or 3 days, so that way you don't burn out, you don't have headaches, you don't wear out and all that. Now, we have lack of clear goals, failing to set clear, achievable goals, making it difficult to prioritize tasks. Best practices. Now, we have best practices for effective time management. Set clear goals. It is as simple as that. What you do is you establish specific, measurable, achievable, and relevant time-bound goals, which means you have to be smart about it. You have to be very realistic about it. Don't push yourself and say you want to achieve something that you can't achieve in a day. You want to achieve it in a day, something you're supposed to achieve probably in a week. Do not do that. Use a scheduling tool. Utilize a calendar, a planner, or an app to schedule tasks and appointment. I do this a lot. I have a to-do list. I have a calendar. I mark all those things so that sometimes you get caught up in so many things that you might forget to do certain things. That's why you need to have a to-do list, a schedule, a calendar to mark all these things. Prioritize tasks. Focus on high priority tasks first, using the Enshower matrix, of course, to categorize tasks into urgent or important ones. Now, avoid multitasking. Yes, in Nigeria, we always like to multitask. Even in some recruitment agencies, they will ask you, can you multitask? But basically, avoid it. Just avoid it. Focus on one task at a time to minimize distraction and maximize productivity. Take breaks. Regularly take short breaks to recharge and maintain focus. It is very essential, especially if you are finding a particular task too difficult. Take a break, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. You come back, you're refreshed, and you start again. You start from where you stopped. Review and adjust. Regularly review your time management strategy and make adjustments as needed. You know, we can say a whole lot about time management, but you yourself, you understand yourself, you understand how you work. It's best to also understand how you function. Some people are good at functioning under high pressure. Some people are not. You know, even when you go for interviews, they will ask you, can you work under pressure? If you cannot work under pressure, please say no. It's not a medal. You won't be given a medal if you can actually work under pressure. Prioritize your time. Focus on the important things. Break it into small tasks. Break it into days, weeks, times, and you can even assign people to do other things for you so that you focus on the most important thing and you achieve it. It's the progress that matters. That's what gets the job done. I think you must have learned a couple of things from time management today. In a moment, we will go over to the national days to see what we have and the newspaper review. Stick around. We'll be right back. The newspaper review. If you're just tuning in, welcome. This is the newspaper review. I'm Olumide Shokoya. This is where we get to review the papers. We also have an analyst in the house who gets to share his own opinions. You can also join the conversation by calling the phone line, which will be displayed on your screen. Not to forget, we are also streaming on YouTube and of course Facebook at High Impact Studio. So we kick off with the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. Let's see what the Daily Trust newspaper has for us. I have here, the bold caption says, high expectations as 32 states budget 22 trillion naira for 2025. We have two writers to that story. It says appropriations upped by 31% from 2024. Now, governors should prioritize capital expenditure. This is coming from expert. And you can see some infographics there. We have about 16.515 trillion naira from 2024. We have 22 trillion naira, just like we said earlier on. It's up by 31% increased, from previous year. We have quite a lot here, but you can look onto the Daily Trust newspaper. You can look on it to get more information about this particular story. Now, we have just above the masthead, or below the masthead rather, 20 dead, 11 rescued in Benue boat accident. This boat mishap has been rampant. It has been happening, and I suggest that maybe some measures to be put on our sea waterways and all that to ensure maybe what is really happening. Maybe we even need to get this boat checked. Maybe they are not proper, they are not fit to be on the water, on the river, or anywhere they are. That's one of the ways we can curb this. 20 dead, 20 families now have to mourn, their loved ones. Beside that, we have politics, economy in focus as Obasanjo meets Kwankwaso and Duke. You can get more of that story on the Daily Trust newspaper. Beside that, we have over 200 terror suspects bagged death sentence and life imprisonment. Well, that tells you that, that's the reward for terrorism. Below that, ECOWAS OKs, Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso's exit. Tinubu pays 85 billion naira and $54 million levy. Yes, the news broke out over the weekend that some countries might be exiting ECOWAS. That's Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. These countries are planning to exit ECOWAS by next year, 2025. We have just two more stories to go. This one says why there's acute malnutrition in the northeast and the northwest. This is a report coming from the federal government. I mean, it's not just getting a report. It's also seeing that malnutrition is being eradicated in the northeast and in the northwest. Beside that, we have Nigeria exports 181.62 billion naira electricity in 9 months. I mean, it's so amazing how we're exporting electricity, but we don't even have stable power in our own country, and we are the ones supplying other countries electricity. Now, the last one says here, Kaduna reopens market after 10-year closure, urges peace. And I think that's all we have right now from the Daily Trust newspaper. We'll move on to the Guardian newspaper. And the Guardian newspaper greets us with a bold caption. It says here, Nigeria on fiscal edge, piles up 4 trillion naira unfunded deficit in 12 months. There's another infographics here. It's an overview of 2023 budget performance. We have earned revenue of about 12.5 trillion naira. Beside that, we have debt service. We have 10.55 trillion naira. We have about 1.9 trillion naira for ways and means. Total capital expenditure, 6.4 trillion naira. We have MDA utilized funds. That's about 1.96 trillion naira. We have debt service to revenue ratio is about 68.5%. We also have unfunded deficit, which is also the caption of this story. We have unfunded deficit, that's 3.95 trillion naira. We have fiscal deficit running to 10.55 trillion naira. We have a releases to MDAs, that's about 3.65 trillion naira. And we have debt service to total recurrent expenditure ratio at 54%. And you can see faces of some of the important people in Nigerian economy. Beside that, we have coalition rallies against GM Foods versus agroecology, That's on Newspage 5. We have this one, Lagos, Rivers, and Federal Capital Territory, or your earn 4.18 trillion naira VAT in 11 months. So there you have it. Now you know those that are actually earning the largest. Beside that, we have about 3 more stories to go. This one says Supreme Court rules on fresh suit seeking Tinubu's disqualification today. That's on Newspaper 3. The story broke out, I think, yesterday. There's a suit still pending challenging Tinubu's qualification as the president of Nigeria. So that suit will be attended today, and we'll probably get a verdict for that. Now we have this one. It says fresh anxiety over cash accessibility as Central Bank of Nigeria threatens to impose 150 million naira fine on banks. Now, there's been an allegation that some of these bankers or workers in these banks, they give the POS operators new notes. I mean, you go to parties, you go to weddings, and you see new notes. But when you walk into the bank, just 2 weeks ago, I walked into the bank and I needed new notes, and they told me it wasn't available. I have to even make requests. And it's so funny how you go to parties or how you leave the bank, and just beside the bank or 1 street away, you see a POS operator with new notes. So the federal government, the Central Bank of Nigeria governor is saying that banks will be fined for this act. Moving on, we have 2,000 megawatts of electricity stranded as federal government's power project stalls. I mean, a lot of people have even come out to say, experts have even come out to say, we need to declare emergency on electricity, because I can't count the number of times we've had national grid collapse. I mean, sometimes I even get paranoid when they take power and I feel, oh, that should be another national grid collapsing. But, these days, I think people now are even used to having national grid collapse, but this is not right. I mean, other countries, Ghana and other countries, they're having stable power. They're celebrating 10 years, 20 years of uninterrupted power. Someday we will get to that. We would actually celebrate 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, 15 years of uninterrupted power. I believe that our government will definitely get that done. And lastly, we have this one. It says Sanwo-Olu performs groundbreaking ceremony for Medipack Hub. That's on page 7 of the Guardian newspaper, and that wraps it up on the Guardian newspaper. We're moving on to the Punch newspaper this morning. On the Punch newspaper, it has to do with council autonomy. It says Algon NULGE kicks as governors get 2 trillion naira local government allocation. Just one rider to that story. It says local government bodies worried over uncertainty in Supreme Court's verdict implementation date. There's a whole lot going on about this local government autonomy, and it all boils down to funds, because who controls the funds actually controls government. So it has been a lot of, and I know the federal government over the weekend said that governors will be sanctioned. Governors who are not obeying that local government autonomy bill will be sanctioned. I would like to see how they would get sanctioned and how that would actually work, because some governors are kicking against this local government autonomy. Now, beside the masthead, we have this one. It says APC and opposition welcome plan PVC withdrawal. Well, when our guest comes in, we'll look into that and we'll try and see the do's and don'ts and the pros and cons of this. Just above the masthead, we have this one. Tinubu not threatened by Obasanjo, Kwankwaso, and Obi's 2027 talks. It's coming from APC. So there's been a planned or a rumored measure to see how, the opposition can defeat the incumbent administration, or the incumbent party, or the ruling party rather. Now we have this on organized private sector fears SMEs collapse as cash scarcity lingers. Yes, I'm sure. I don't know whether you're conversant or you actually went to the banks or the ATMs over the weekend, but there seems to be some sort of light scarcity of cash. Even in the POS, some POS now are charging 200 naira for 5,000 naira. That's how bad it is. I went to a particular place and the guy was like, because I know you, because you're a customer, I will do it for you. I will give you 5,000 naira for 100 naira. But the next time you're coming, it is 200 naira. And I asked him why. He said there's scarcity of cash. Well, but that's where we are right now. Besides that, we have Dangote Refinery extends export to 3 African countries. So Dangote now is exporting some of the crude oil, petrol rather, to other countries, not just Nigeria. We have a pictorial here, and the caption says, ECOWAS to approve Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso's withdrawal January 29. Just like I said earlier on, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger are planning to exit ECOWAS come 2025. We have 3 more stories to go. Death toll hits 20 as boat capsizes in Benue. That's on page 5 of the Punch newspaper. We have this one. NDLA seizes 83 kilograms drugs from Canada and arrests 3. That's on pages 4 and 5. And the last story we have here, Abuja land only valid after payment and C of O. This is coming from the minister's spokesperson. That's on page 7. There's a lot of brouhaha, a lot of people, a lot of dust being raised about what is going on in Abuja, land grabbing accusations, there's land revocation and all that. It's a whole lot going on in Abuja, but you can get more of that story on page 7 of the Punch newspaper. To the last newspaper for today, which is the Vanguard newspaper this morning, we have federal government overshoots 2024 borrowing target by 4 trillion naira. I'll take that again. Federal government overshoots borrowing target, 2024 borrowing target by 4 trillion naira, which means we are having extra 4 trillion naira to borrow, added to what we are going to borrow next year. It's quite interesting how, they arrived at this figure. We have a couple of writers to that story. It says borrowing 49% above target on 11th month. That's where we are right now in this economy. Now, May hit 67 at year end. So basically, we're at 49%. Our borrowing is 49% as at November. And what you're saying is it may hit 67 by the end of December. It's quite interesting. Now, we have domestic borrowing hit 8.9 trillion naira. Analysts list impact on inflation and others. More borrowing crowds out private sector. This is coming from experts. Now, just above the masthead, we have this one, 3 million naira. 3 trillion, I beg your pardon, 3 trillion naira spent on raw material imports in 2023. This is coming from the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN. It's on page 24 of the Vanguard newspaper. We have this one on terrorism. Federal government secure conviction of over 200 suspects. Federal government secure conviction of over 200 suspects. This is coming from the National Security Advisor. That's Nuhu Ribadu. Beside that, we have this one. We have exported petrol to Cameroon, Ghana, Angola, South Africa. This is coming from Dangote Refinery. Dangote is basically saying they are supplying about 4 countries at this moment: Cameroon, Ghana, Angola, and South Africa petrol. So, I mean, I see no reason why we should even be having petrol scarcity, but this is where we are at. But let's hope that we will not experience petrol scarcity in the near future if Dangote, who's right on our shores, is supplying 4 countries at the moment petrol. That's on page 8 if you want to get more of that story. Now, moving on, we have Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger have till July 2025 to return to ECOWAS. This is coming from the leaders. So they are saying they have until July 2025. That's if they leave January next year. They have until July to return. Quite interesting. One writer to that story says, Tinubu to ECOWAS leaders, let's learn from Ghana's democratic example. Quite interesting. That's on page 8. Moving on, we have boat mishap claims 20 lives in Benue. Boat mishap claims 20 lives in Benue. That's on page 6 of the Vanguard newspaper. We have NG expresses concern over anti-media and free speech laws. Quite concerning. Really, really quite concerning. Well, lastly, on the sports section, page 31 of the Vanguard, it says 2024 CAF African Footballer of the Year. Lookman, the man cap feats. Quite interesting. You can get more of that story on page 31, sports section of the Vanguard newspaper. This is where we'll take a break right now, and we'll go on a short break. And when we come back, we'll bring in an analyst and we'll continue with the papers. Stay tuned.
Can kill a great content idea.
Do you want to have a photo shoot, audio production, or do you need a professional voiceover artist?
Do you simply want unmatched cinematography, video production, or just event coverage, such as weddings, birthdays, or burials?
Or do you need a space for meetings or conferences? All these are possible with High Impact Studios. Don't bring down your creativity, let's help you take it high.
And out of this world with our state-of-the-art equipment and first-class studio space.
We give you the quality you deserve at the best rate.
For more details, call 0706 393 5694 or 0915 958 1881. High Impact Studios, the future.
Something big is in town. Something powerful and majestic. A mammoth creation destined to become a legend by all who encounter it. High Impact Planet. Nigeria's biggest family theme park with facilities designed for friends, families, or large groups under a relaxing atmosphere. Be welcomed by wowing displays of animatronics, thrill out with realistic arcade games, or enjoy a number of thrilling heart-racing park rides. Experience the 5D and 12D cinemas and challenge your mates with bumper cars and go-kart races. Don't forget to slide into the ice rink or simply take time out to enjoy a pizza at our delightful restaurant and dessert spot or at the exquisite club lounge. High Impact Planet, 12 Lagos Ibadan Expressway, Ibafo, opposite MFM Prayer City. Visit high-impactplanet.com for details and inquiries. Fun just got real.
Welcome back. In case you're just tuning in, this is the Newspaper Review on the Breakfast Cafe. I am Olumide Shokoya, and right about now, I will welcome our guest in the person of Adeniyi Ifetayo. He is a media analyst. Good morning. Compliments of the season. It's glad to have you on the program.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to join.
All right. So glad to have you on the program. So let's kick off. All across all the papers that I read this morning, there's the story of 20 people who lost their life as a result of a boat capsizing. And this is not the first time that we've been hearing this story. So what do you think is the problem? Why we seem to be having boat mishap all the time? I mean, the casualties is 20 as at this morning.
You know, boat operator or that sector is one of the most neglected transport sector that we have. That nothing has been done to regulate, to make sure about safety precaution, you know, etc., etc. Because it's not common in this part of our world. But if something, they said that if you keep on doing the same thing and expect different results, you are daydreaming. So I expected that sector should be looked into. There's so much thing that can be done, you know, to foster such occurrence. Because if you fail to plan, you have already planned to fail, because it will still repeat itself. I think it is high time they mandated that for every whether boat, whether canoe, whatever kind of that you are using, there must be a diver in the, you know, in your boat or whatever it is. There must be safety equipment. I've had an experience going from one location to another, and that boat can actually take, let's say, about 20 passengers. For only about 7 lifesaver vests that was on board, you know. It's so pathetic. Nobody's regulating it. You just see somebody who know how to drive or boat, and you just go into the sector and begin to operate just to take people from this point to other point. You know, so these are the things, and there should be train the trainer, whatever it is. Even if you call yourself you are a pilot of that boat, you should go for the training. You know, in case of a storm or emergency, how can I rescue the situation? How can I call? Just like now in Lagos, there's a number you can call if there's an emergency, you know. So those are the things, all those safety measures as well should be put in place. There's a number you can call once this thing is happening, whether you survive it or not, whether it's going to happen or not, so that there can be rescue boat inside, just like you have emergency when it comes to fire disaster, that you have those firefighter that you can call at least to save the day or at least minimize the incident, you know. So government needs to do their own part, and the operator too, they need to do their own part.
All right, thank you very much. Now, so I'm thinking that just like we have the BRTs in Lagos, we have BRT, and if you don't want to go through that route, you can take Danfo, Korope, and the others. Do you see a situation whereby the government can step in, create some sort of affordable transportation on our waters? Whereby
Yes. I will use Lagos State for example. They are doing great in that sector. You know, trying to bring new boats, put some safety measure in place. But it's not just governance. It's not just all about your own. That since this is government, we just only focus on it. You understand?
Yes.
So when it comes to other private sector, yes, we want them to thrive, but there are some measure you need to put in place. You understand?
Yes.
Just like now, I don't want to. That's not what we are discussing. Like all those real estate, they have a category. If you are just an agent, just to rent a house, you know, to mediate between the landlord and the would-be tenant, you need to register. We just want to know you. Not a situation that a lot of people say, well, I pay money, I didn't see that. So the same thing, if they can do that, they are trying in the water transport sector. So they can put some of those measures in place and to also give them some kind of subsidy. You know, it's just a lot of people, they don't want to key in government stuff because they say, every month they continue to collect their fee or levies or tax. They don't know whether you make money, whether you sell, or the money you are going to deliver. All those things will need to be put in place. Just like you have ambulances on the road, if they can do all those things as well, that a journey of 1 hour, between point A to point B, there must be a rescuer maybe 30 minutes or 15 minutes away. You understand what I'm saying? Should something happen, just like you can call ambulance, you can call last man in case you see accident, before you know it, another agency to pull the truck or to pull whatever off the road, or to quickly come, or LASEMA in case of maybe the house that collapsed or something. So if they can do that in other sector, I think this one is becoming a challenge that they need to nip in the bud. They can do that as well for the private organization.
Also,
sector.
I believe that most of the time it's lack of life jacket, basically. And so I would like to ask, how affordable is this life jacket? And if it costs an arm and leg, if it's expensive, how can the federal government ensure that these boats or whoever is in charge of this boat have enough life jackets, to give to people?
Those are the things, just like you are saying, some sectors still enjoy subsidy, to subsidize the kind of equipment or what they use, so that to reduce the burden on the masses or the citizen that enjoy the service or that patronize such services. So if life jacket, if it's too expensive for just a local operator to afford, those are the things that come and register, will give you 5 life jackets. Maybe you are supposed to buy 7. So government will give you 5 life jackets, and you only pay one-time fee. If you pay in January, there is another January that you are going to pay, and you'll be registered. And those are the way that they can come into that sector and make it thrive. It's just like this day you buy cloth, let's say 20,000, and your tailor wants to charge you 40,000. You are like, what am I buying? What am I selling that you are charging me so much? So those are the things they can do. Your boat can take 20 passengers. So because of that, we're going to do half for you. Government will provide half, and the remaining half, we do it at 30%, reduce 30%, you get it at less than 30% the cost. Those are the things you can encourage the operator, and, that's what they should need to do. Yes, if it's expensive, the government should come in to reduce or minimize the cost. And there's nothing wrong for us to be producing it in Nigeria. Not everything we must import.
All right, let's shift focus, let's switch some gears to the Vanguard newspaper this morning. It has it that the federal government has overshoots their borrowing target by 4 trillion naira. So we have one writer saying that the borrowing limit is 49% above target as at November, and there's another writer saying that it may hit 67% by at year end. So my question, I know you must have heard this, that every Nigerian might be, if they do the calculation plus or minus, every Nigerian might be owing about 100,000 naira to someone. But how can we, don't you think that at this point there should be some sort of peg limit? How can the National Assembly step into this to kind of put a peg on our borrowing limit? This is just December. And I mean, we are shooting above our borrowing target. We don't even know what is in store for us next year. How can we control this?
When it comes to international lender, what they look at, does this country have capacity to pay? Of course, Nigeria is one of the local parlance, I would say customer that Nigeria, they know how to pay their debt, as in they have what it takes to pay off their debt. So they will continue to encourage them, and because they always depend on these international lenders, on these international communities, group and association, which most times they dictate what you need to do so that you can continue to enjoy whatever services, whatever product, or whatever thing they are providing for you. I think it is high time that we begin to run our economy. For example, Morocco, they run their economy locally. It's just we over-reliance on borrowing. Like they said that if you are pushed to do, if there's no way to do something, you definitely make a way out. So it's just for our government to look inward. It's just because most of them, or most of these people, because they know that, oh, let's just put out the figure, definitely we go to international community to, borrow money from them or some of things to fund whether our infrastructure or capital expenditure or overhead, and almost 50% is going for overhead expensive. Is uncalled for. I just wish they can focus more on capital expenditure to create an enabling environment so that small and medium-scale businesses can thrive. That's how you can run your economy. Don't just over-reliance on the oil. You can look at tourism sector. You can look at, like we are talking about, water transportation system now, that because of a lot of people are scared. They don't see the safety in that sector. They might be scared to use that kind of services, and we are losing a lot. I've seen Uber boats in London that to cross from here to here, is a Uber. They call it a Uber boat. You understand?
Yes.
People can use it, from Ikorodu to VI, maybe from VI to Ekpe and all of that. And you generate a lot. For the fact that I want to see a lot of things around, so borrowing is too much. And just like you said, it's every Nigeria is like we are owing you 100,000 naira. I never chop. They put me inside debt. It's just that it's future generation that will survive. Only God will help us, and may God give us our own sermon.
All right, now, so from the Punch newspaper, the APC are saying they are not threatened by the talks between former President Olusegun Obasanjo, Kwakwanso, and Obi towards 2027. I know Obi also visited the presidential candidate of the PDP, that's Atiku Abubakar, a while back. There's been talks of a merger here and there, but let's look at this particular one. I know former President Olusegun Obasanjo has been vocal, has been an elder statesman. He has been vocal. He has, has been some sort of opposition of himself, independent opposition of himself to this present government. And seeing him going into talks with Obi Kwakwanso, that's another presidential candidate of a party, with Peter Obi, do you see any likelihood of a merger or something, or maybe a third force or fourth force, or whatever, that can challenge or come head toe-to-toe with this current party or ruling party?
Yes, it's good. Nobody is an island. Yeah, I'm sure they've tested the water twice, thinking that, I can do it all by myself. If you come together, there's no force that can stop such unity. So if they can come together and they have, not that they are just coming together to seize power. When I mean seize power, as in just to take over, through electoral process. But they are coming together to, put their minds together. This is what Nigeria is going through. Should we get into power? What are we going to do differently? What can we do, to reduce the suffering or the pains that is being currently experienced, all over the country, the security situation. So it's not just coming together to say that it's all about how I want to become president, how you be vice president, but coming together, to come up with a sound agenda proposition. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please
Hello?
Go ahead, please.
I can hear you. Yes. So I'm saying it's not just for them to, come together. It's just all about to become president or vice president, but coming together to put the nation first. What can we do differently? Should we get into power? What can we do to, reduce the suffering, the pains of Nigeria? What can we do to tackle, the security situation? You are talking about both mishap that has been, occurring. What can we do in that sector, to revive it or to remodel it or to make sure it's viable? What can we do in tourism sector? Those are the things. What can we do to generate employment? What can we do that we are talking about? We are criticizing this government that every now and then they go and borrow and we can't see the impact of the borrowing. So what can we do differently? That is the thing I expected, not just because let's come together so that we can come into power 2027. If you look at it, most of them, whether you are in this party or that party, somehow they will cross carpet and say in the name of I want to become the president. But if they are talking about the nation building, the nation development, how can we make it better? this, we have the potential, human potential, mineral resources. How can the Nigerian, like they said, become the Dubai? Way back 40 years ago is a desert that become the hub of tourism in the world. Those are the things I think they should be thinking about. Not just about power, that in the next 5 years, if we are there, in the next 4 years, how do we want to leave Nigeria? How do we want Nigeria to be perceived among the Committee of Nations?
All right, so let's dive deeper into politics. Peter Obi, Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, Kwankwaso. Which of these two do you think Peter Obi would go for? Because the problem has always been who is going to be the flag bearer and who will be the running mate. That is what has always been the obstacle of any merger. And I think this is something they really need to iron out. So who do you think, or which party do you think Peter Obi might sway for? Because he himself also will probably want to be a flag bearer of any party. So Kwankwaso of the NNPP or of Atiku of the PDP, which do you think is more viable at this point?
I think Peter Obi Kwankwaso will be viable for the Atiku to come out to support them. That we are throwing our weight, our arsenal, everything behind these people. Atiku is of age. If you have tried, one of the things that can make another statement is to give room, for others to thrive. You have taken your shot at it, not first time, not second time, not third time, fourth time. Just give somebody back up and you be the hero.
If I may come in, Adeni, if you remember also, Buhari also tried. I mean, in one of the statements that this current president made in Yoruba, he said that at a point, former President Buhari lost and he cried. He said it in Yoruba. So don't you think that Atiku might be looking at that also, that if Buhari tried and succeeded, I also can succeed?
That time, if you remove that age from Buhari's age, he's still much younger than the Atiku we are looking at now. You understand what I'm saying? So,
yes.
But there are so many issues that when you mention Atiku, a lot of things that he will need to defend, to clear his name, whether they are just an allegation. Before you are doing that, it paints you in a bad light. But I just feel that if you are a leader, one of the things that must be credited to you is for you to be able to identify other leaders, to groom other leaders. You understand? So
yes.
If you should throw his toe behind there, just like what Joe Biden did in America, and say, okay, look, I think I'm not getting younger, so let's give it to a younger generation. Let's see what they can come up with. The world will never forget about you. Nigeria will never forget about you. So I think that's what Atiku should be talking about now. Not that he wants to come out as a flag bearer as well. But yes, people are used to him, and I think doing that we also waste some votes. Swallow some votes. Like a sympathy voter, this man, and say that, coming out to say, I support these people, I know I've had my shot, everything, let us support them, this is what they are going to do differently, this is what they are going to do. I think it will be better. But if Peter Obi should go as a running mate, it will make that effect. It needs to come out as a standard flag bearer. So
what you're suggesting is Peter Obi, Kwankwaso, Peter Obi be the flag bearer and Kwankwaso be the running mate.
That's right.
Do you think Kwankwaso will want to step down? Because there had also been this planned measure before the elections, but Kwankwaso backed out. He said he also cannot be a running mate to Peter Obi. So do you see him shielding or yielding to this kind of
that's what we are saying. If it's all about, I said it earlier on, if their talk is about who will become, let me be president, if it's about nations building, there's no, I don't see any reason why you cannot, concede your own plan, for a bigger or better plans to emerge. You understand? But if it's just all about to seize power, they'll come back to square one. But I see him this time around, having learned from what has happened in the last election and the forces that came out as, Peter Obi, and all of that, obedient, movement, etc., going across some bands. So I think I might see him to, just consider as, okay, let's do it. is for the nation. It's not just an individual thing.
All right, just before we go, this is coming from the National Security Advisor. He put out a statement that over 200 terrorists have been secured a conviction based on terrorism. So what's your thoughts about this, as against some who have the belief that some of these terrorists should be pardoned, given some freebies just to, help them get back into society? You think that this particular direction, securing convictions and all that, some of them actually bagged death sentence, life imprisonment and all that. Do you think this is the right direction that we should take right now?
Yeah, they say where there's no law, there's no sin. And if you have contravened any section of the law, you should be dealt with. Sometimes if there's not something that will show as a deterrent to an event, the repetition is bound to happen. So I'm sure it's a good one, that the secure conviction. Most of the time we only hear that they capture or they arrested some Boko Haram or terrorist group, so to say, but we don't see what happened after that. Even if you want to reintegrate them, let them spend some time. So let them be sober. All those things can't. How you behave in the prison. In fact, you must spend some certain years before you can be talking about let's integrate them, let's give them a presidential pardon or whatever it is. So it's a good one, and they should be hammering on it that no matter how you may try, the law will catch up with you one day.
All right, this one is quite interesting, coming from Dangote Refinery. It says we have exported petrol to Cameroon, Ghana, Angola, South Africa. 4 countries are enjoying the lush wealth or the lush production of Dangote Refinery. And it begs the question, at a point in time, we had this allegation or statement that Dangote is short of fuel supply. Now we're getting this one that is supplying 4 countries petrol. How would that affect Nigeria negatively in any way?
No, not negatively. It's positive. If you are a seller, you are selling a product, and some people seems not so interested in what you are doing. Like they said, the market is an open place for people to do whatever they want to do. The only positivity I see there is that I still want him to sell it in Naira, so that those international or those country can be looking for Naira to buy. That's one of the ways that our Naira will be appreciated. And if he's buying the crude oil in Naira, he should sell it for them in Naira. Let them go and look for Naira. That's how it will reduce our dependence on Forex, to do some transaction or to weaken Naira. So it's a good one for Dangote. Like, it's the largest, so I'm not surprised that they can supply other 3 nations. And mind you, I want to know, or I believe, those people that I supply, maybe they send their product, just like we normally send our products to a foreign country to be refined. You understand? So
yes.
That aspect, I don't know. I think the one that send the product there, please help us refine it. We'll pay you your quota. You understand what I'm saying? So if that should be the case, it's a good one for us, and at least it will make our Naira to be stronger. Only if they sell in Naira. That's the question we need to ask. So, but whatever it is, I'm not sure it's going to affect us negatively. Like, the plant is set up that it can take care not only Nigeria and other nations. They can, refine other products and, sell to international community, which is a good one for us. So I'm not surprised at all.
All right, one more question. This one quite interesting. This is from the Guardian newspaper. It says, Igbo most marginalized in Nigeria. This is coming from Abaribe. Early 2023, part of the reason why the G7 broke, part of the reason why Wike had problems with Atiku was it was said that power should have gone to the south, but unfortunately that did not happen. And even till now, people are still clamoring that power should go to the south. Now, we're getting reports that Igbo most marginalized in Nigeria. Would you say that this statement is 100% accurate?
My brother, everybody is being marginalized. It depends on the angle that you are looking at it. You understand? Like now, I remember during Buhari, in the South have been crying, saying that we are being marginalized. His appointment is somehow treated in religion, affiliation, and all of that. So everybody will definitely cry. It's only you know where the truth pinches you. So talking about the Igbo, I'm not sure that they are the only set of South that are being marginalized. And don't forget, Nigeria is divided into two. It's either the South or the North. So wherever the presidency comes from, don't say Igbo. Both Igbo, that's South, Southeast, Southwest is being categorized as one. So whether your president comes from or your candidate comes from South or Southwest or Southeast is as regarded as the South have had their shot. So North, whether it's North Central or Northeast, whatever it is, it's regarded as North. So wherever the presidency comes out from. So it depends on when you are a president, you become the president for all, not a sectional president. You know, in the area of appointment, I remember during the time of our former president, Goodluck Jonathan, and someone said, he said, go and look at the position from number 1 to 7, that no Southwest occupy any, tangible position. And it was true as at that time, and we are crying that we are being marginalized. So it is not new to me that a section of the country will say that they are being, even the Arewa, they are crying that they are being marginalized. You understand? So it's a normal thing. I'm sure when you make reference, Wike Sepa should come to the South. Whether South, Southeast, whatever it is still being regarded as South. So the power is in the South, unless that thing would be like somebody wanted to make that we should have a single tenure of 6 years so that it will be rotational, but it was shut down because Nigerians, they are not ready for that. Anyway, whatever it is, all the sections are being marginalized. So it's just who is representing you at the table, or who are the people there? Are they bringing the impact they are supposed to have on their region? So everybody is being marginalized, not just one section, and said that we are being marginalized, we are not doing this, they are not doing that.
All right, thank you very much, Adeni Ifetai. So glad to have you, of course. And I would also say compliments of the season. Please do not forget to send our gifts to us.
No problem. I'm actually the road. All right, thank you so much. It's my pleasure, to jump on your show. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Miracles.
Yes, we are welcome. So this is as much as we can take on the newspaper review, but stick around, we still have a whole lot more coming up on the Breakfast Cafe in a moment.
Condescending, condescending, condescending. as a child, what is most important to you is love, warmth, acceptance, and security. But as you grow, there is a paradigm shift in the way you approach life. The interest you lose in some things, you pick in other things. Sometimes, the road is smooth. Other times, it is rough. Every step of the way comes with a new hurdle to scale. You win some, you lose some. You laugh hard, you cry hard, but at the end, you look back with a fulfilling smile and say, what a ride. High Impact Television equips you with what you need every step of the way.
Do you know bad production can kill a great content idea?
Do you want to have a photo shoot, audio production, or do you need a professional voiceover artist?
Do you simply want unmatched cinematography, video production, or just event coverage, such as weddings, birthdays, or burials?
Or do you need a space for meetings or conferences? All these are possible with High Impact Studios. Don't bring down your creativity, let's help you take it high.
And out of this world with our state-of-the-art equipment and first-class studio space.
We give you the quality you deserve at the best rate.
For more details, call 0706 393 5694 or 0915 958 1881. High Impact Studios, the future.
Welcome back. It's still the Breakfast Cafe on High Impact Television. If you're just joining us, this is Views from the Net. So we throw out a question and get your opinion, and we read it out and entertain ourselves and also educate ourselves on certain life experiences. So what question do we have today? Have you ever gotten lost in a place where you really shouldn't have, and how did you escape from it? It's a very interesting question. I think if I might remember, yes, I remember way back when I was in Abuja. Now, there's something, one of the good things or one of the perks about Abuja is if you get lost, they say, just keep driving around, you will find your way. So many times when I was driving in Abuja, I got lost, but I kept driving, taking different turns, and somehow, I came back to initially where I started from. And that was how I got out of that situation. Now, let's start off with this one. This one says, I got lost in a supermarket after following a kid I thought was my little brother. Now, I didn't realize until I ended up in the toy section with the wrong family. Wow. I just pretended I was shopping for toys. This is Ayo from Lagos. It's quite interesting. Next one says, I got lost at a big wedding venue and accidentally walked into the groom's dressing room. Wow, they thought I was delivering food, so I handed them the small chops I was holding and left quickly. Yetunde from Ibadan. So the next one says, I got lost in a market while following a friend. I panicked and I started calling out a name, only to realize she had been behind me the whole time laughing. This is TT from Kaduna. I remember also when we went to the beach. This one didn't happen to me. It happened to my younger sister. She got lost in the beach, and we were looking for her for almost 2 hours. I mean, this is at that time she was probably, I think, 9 or 10, and we could not find her. We kept on shouting her name. We went different places, but luckily after 2 hours, we find out. It was a big scare at that point. It was really a big scare. This next one says, I got lost in a lecture hall on my first day at a university. I sat through an entire history class only to find out I was supposed to be in a computer science class. I escaped during the applause at the end. Anita from Akura. Must have been very embarrassing, you know, to find yourself in the wrong lecture room and having to now stay all through that lecture, only to find out in the end that that was not the lecture and missing out on the actual lecture you're supposed to attend. So we'll move on to the next one. It says, I got lost in a hotel during a conference and walked into a wedding reception. I joined the dancing guest until I found someone who could direct me back to the event. This is Bola from Water. I've also had quite an interesting experience. This has to do with Google Map. Now, one of the things I realized about using a map is you have to be very specific. What do I mean? If you are spelling a particular street, spell it to the letter. Do not remove something. So what happened was we were going for an event. We're going to cover an event. So let's say we were going to Church Street. Church Streets. There was an S, but I put street there. So Google took me, or the map rather, took me to somewhere entirely different. And when we got there, when we drove down there, we were like, this is not the place. We now had to now put in the right address, and it now took us to the actual venue. It was quite interesting. You know, we lost about an hour of our time. Moving on, we have this one. I got lost in a stadium after a football match, and I ended up with the rival team's fan. I escaped by screaming, ref cheated us. They agreed and let me go. This is Femi from Enugu. This one says, I got lost in a university library and fell asleep at the wrong department's table. They woke me up asking questions about quantum physics, I can imagine. And I said, sorry, I'm fasting. Quite interesting. This is Victor from Port Harcourt. The next one says, I got lost in a shopping mall parking lot and I opened a car that wasn't mine. The owner came out yelling, so I told him I was testing his car's alarm system for security. Kunle from Ibadan. Kunle, you're lucky they did not label you a thief. That would have been quite a horrifying experience. This next one says, I had been living in Lagos for a while, but hadn't yet gotten used to the massive crowds in Lagos, like Balogun Market. One Saturday, I went to buy some fabric, but the crowd was so dense, I got lost. I lost track of time, basically, and direction. I couldn't find the shop I was looking for, and my phone battery died. It felt overwhelming, almost suffocating. I stopped, took a deep breath, and tried to gather my thoughts. Instead of panicking, I remembered a tip I had. Find a landmark. I spotted a building with a big sign and used it to navigate back to the main road. I asked a couple of shopkeepers for directions and finally made my way out. This is Kayode from Egbeda. Quite interesting. The next one says, I went to visit some relatives in a small village outside of Jos and decided to take a walk through the village many winding paths. I didn't realize how easy it would be to get disoriented, especially with no clear street signs. I walked for hours and eventually found myself in an unfamiliar territory. Surrounded by dense bush, the sun was starting to set. I felt panic rising. I remembered something my grandfather had told me. The land knows its way home. Wow, quite interesting. I sat still, listened to the sound of nature, and mentally retraced my steps. Eventually, I followed the sound of a nearby river to find my way back to the village. It taught me the moments of panic. In the moments of panic, slowing down and using the environment around you to guide you to your next step can make all the difference. Emeka from Abia. Emeka, is this actually true? This sounds like a movie. This actually sounds like a movie. I mean, imagine you're having to listen to the sound of nature, or listen to the sound of a river to trace your way back in a bush, in a forest. It's quite interesting. Emeka, you must have some, you know, I wouldn't call it spiritual force or something. But the next one says, I had just moved to Lagos for a new job and didn't, know my way around the city and at all, basically. One day I had a meeting in Victoria Island and I was relying on Google Maps. Just like me, my phone died and I had no idea where I was or how to get back to the office. It was a bit disorientating, actually, especially because I didn't know any landmarks in the area. I decided to stop at a nearby restaurant and ask for directions. The waiter, seeing my panic, kindly gave me a map and helped me figure out the quickest route. This experience taught me two things. Never rely solely on technology, especially in a city like Lagos where traffic is unpredictable, and the importance of asking for help when you are lost. People actually are generally kind if you ask politely. Blessing from Lagos. Now, I've had different kind of experience. And I've also learned that sometimes when you ask for directions, try and ask 2 people or 3 people, because sometimes you might get the wrong direction or might give you the wrong direction. It has happened to me. I don't know whether it's happened to you sometimes. So what I do is when I'm trying to get to a particular place, I ask 2 people. I ask the first person, I ask the second person. That way you'll be able to tell if the first or the second person is giving you the wrong direction. And also, just like you said, Google Maps. Sometimes Google Maps might tell you to take a particular way that was closed, or a particular road that is closed, or a particular way that's probably a one way. So you have to also be very, very careful, when, taking directions, especially from maps. But the best way to do it is ask for help. Just like the person said earlier, ask politely. There's no harm in saying that you need asking for help for directions to get to a particular place. Even when you are in a public transport, we've seen different cases whereby people will enter the bus and tell the conductor that, please, I'm going to so place, please remind me in case I forget, because you could forget and end up in another bus stop. But I think this is the size we can take from views from the net this morning. Stick around, we still have a whole lot more coming up on the Breakfast Cafe in a moment.
Time of the year again. High Impact Studios presents the Super Ember Sale, bringing you up to 30% off of all advertising services, audio and video production with High Impact 102.1 FM and High Impact TV in Nicomsat 42 degrees east. Advertise your products and services at unbeatable rates. Need a modern studio for live or recorded sessions? We've got you covered. And that's not all. Get amazing discounts on photography, film production, jingle production, and more. Hurry! This offer lasts until December 2024. Don't miss out. Call us now at 0706 393 5694 or 0902 745 3931. Message us on WhatsApp at 0907 224 5018. Follow us on all social media platforms or visit our website at www.highimpactstudios.com.
Hello, High Impact.
High Impact Studios, the future.
It's exciting, it's captivating. High Impact Television brings you the best in entertainment and education with shows that keep you informed, inspired, and entertained. Start your day right with the Breakfast Cafe.
But any layman can know the crude oil price per time. Just use your phone, Google the crude oil price.
Get inspired with the news. Plus, enjoy the latest in music, entertainment, movies, and so much more. At High Impact Television, we are securing the future, one show at a time. High
puerile, puerile, puerile.
Do you know bad production can kill a great content idea?
Do you want to have a photo shoot, audio production, or do you need a professional voiceover artist?
Do you simply want unmatched cinematography, video production, or just event coverage, such as weddings, birthdays, or burials?
Or do you need a space for meetings or conferences? All these are possible with High Impact Studios. Don't bring down your creativity, let's help you take it high.
And out of this world with our state-of-the-art equipment and first-class studio space.
We give you the quality you deserve at the best rate.
For more details, call 0706 393 5694 or 0915 958 1881. High Impact Studios, the future.
Warriors on horses. Drummers showing their skills on the rhythm of the drums. Women of guns. Male and female wrestling it out on the Sander ring. All around the formidable mountain. This is Abeokuta in Ogun State during the one-week celebration of Lishabi Agbongboakala. The Lishabi Festival, an annual celebration by the Egba people in remembrance of Egba hero Lishabi Agbongboakala and his heroic exploits during the turbulent days of intertribal wars, thus seen as the strength of togetherness. Lishabi reportedly formed a cooperative society of Egbearu, Tradition Mutual Aid Society, which had able-bodied men who are farmers as members, towards uniting the people for an onslaught against Oloyo's force to servitude. Lishabi is known as a great warrior who fought assiduously for the peaceful settlement of the Egba people during the intertribal wars in the 18th century, over lordship of the Alaafin of Oyo Empire.
Lishabi is our father, our forebear, who took us out of the Egba forest. He also took us out of the Oloyo and ensured that we won the war and settled finally in Abeokuta, where we are now. He's a very important person to us. Everything about him means a lot to us, and that's why we remember him every year. We even honor him by ensuring that where he hails from, we have a permanent Balogun of Egbaland coming from Igbeyin because of Lishabi.
it came to his turn to be helped in his farm, as was the term of the cooperative association, instead of the members to work in his farm, he declared war on Oyo. With supreme war tactics, Lishabi's army, with less numerical strength and experience when it comes to war, won the battle, thereby obtaining freedom for the Egbas by organizing the simultaneous killing of the ruler's aide, called Ajeles or the Ilaris, in all Egba. More than 600 Ilaris or Ajeles were wiped out in one day. Those aides were the representative of the Alafi of Oyo and collectors of the tributes paid to the Kofa of the Alafi from all territories under the Oyo Empire. They behaved like an army of occupation in the places they administered, leaving oppression and suppression in its wake. This became worse. Lishabi and his peers liberated the Egbas.
It used to be one day in those days. We are talking about culture. One day is not enough for culture. And then we want both students and women and men to benefit from the whole program. So we brought in so many other programs like quiz, competition, debate, and so on and so forth. But it's centered on both culture and tradition. The essence of it is to be able to honor all our past heroes. This one-week program will give us the opportunity of meeting together with those of us at home, those abroad, so they will all come in, we interact within that 1 week and be able to contribute to the development of Egbaland.
The Egbas migrated from Oyo Empire, led by Shodeke, to Abeokuta. They are a subgroup of the Yoruba people, an ethnic group of Western majority, of whom are from the central part of Ogun State. Abeokuta is the capital of the state, with Alaki as the paramount ruler of the town, while the other towns such as Okiono, Gbagura and Owu are ruled by the sectional kings. To commemorate this 7-day festival, the days are packed full with loads of activities such as traditional games, quiz, debate, and so on to make this event memorable.
The wrestling we're having now, they call it Eke in Yoruba. Once you put somebody's back on the ground or something, that's it.
the Ashoka of Igbala in the year dash. What's here?
In the name of Lord Baden Powell of Gilwe, I declare the campfire open.
Part of it was the booming of guns by local hunters to exemplify the Egba warlord. Hunters in Egba land, led by their chief, were at the cenotaph built in memory of Shodeke, the progenitor of Egbas, to offer prayers for the success in their profession and for the peace of Egba land. In Egba land, while paying homage to the king, men must prostrate while the women kneel. Kabiesi must be said 3 times while the Akoda, that is, the palace police, replies to each greetings. The Ayo competition was organized between local government of Egba land. There are both male and female competitors.
You know, in those days, our forefathers, our fathers, they are used to playing Ayo. After maybe farm work, they come back home, settle down, try to relax, all right? And we believe that some of these culture are going down the drain. So we want to encourage people. When we started with very few people. For this year's own, we have 259 people contesting from all the 6 local governments. So it's something that people are looking forward to every year.
Ayo Olokun is a game that requires a lot of brain power, mathematical skills, deep thoughts, and good strategy to move seeds with the ultimate aim to win. Ayo is played in a carved wooden box containing 12 holes. Six holes on each side, 4 seats in each hole, and 48 Ayo seats in all. Two individuals take turns to play this game, which runs anti-clockwise. The first player begins by moving seats from his right-hand side to the opponent's side. If the seats movement terminates in a hole with 3 or less Ayo seats, the player picks up the seats and seats from preceding holes, if any. Players take turn until the seats are exhausted. The player with most seats is called Ota. While the losing player is called Okwe. Spectators comment on the direction of the game. This adds color to the game. Ayo, a relaxation game, is played by everyone. While this is going on, the MC tries to update the guests who are also keenly watching and treating themselves to the local drinks of palm wine as they watch and listen to the MC jokes and also updates. As part of the celebration, an annual march to Lishabi Forest is a major event. In celebrating this important part of the Egbas, history revealed that Lishabi did not die, but intentionally vanished into the earth in a forest between Morocco and Abaton village